Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Creative Nature with BKG. Today's lesson is on how to maintain and start up a backyard fish pond for the spring season. Have my supervisor, Miss Olivia, back here keeping an eye on the project today. So let's get into this special Mother's Day edition of Creative Nature. So here is the setup with the fish pond and how it was closed up for the winter with the netting to keep the leaves and oak thingies out, and then some things that go across these like bars to keep the net from sinking in there as well.
And great blue herons.
And here's Mom.
Hey, here's the food. Can you call them? Come on, fish.
You can put it right there.
Fishy, fishy.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Oh.
That's all right, I'll get it.
Okay.
Is that an Outdoor Discovery do-rag you're wearing there?
Uh-huh.
AKA Outdoor Disco?
Absolutely.
Cool. All right.
It also comes down over my face. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Wait a minute.
You're ready. Nice. From buff to mask. Good. You're ready. All right. Thanks, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
You're welcome, honey.
Can you sit? Girl, ready? Oh, nice work, Miss Olivia. Want to try one more? You ready? Here you go. Let's do one more. Sit. Ready? Oh, wow, she's good. All right, 2 for 2. All right, let's get into this. Here is what we're working with today. We are going to set the pump back up. And I think this is like a really large flow, like 200 gallons per hour, but you can do smaller, less expensive ones. But you just need the water moving so it's not stagnant, and then a filtration system that's going to be, I'll show you when we get into the filter box. But here is the protection for the water intake that's going to be down in the pond. I also wrap a filter around that to get the first few times in the season when there's a lot of loose particles in the water. And then that'll go up the side through this tubing right here out of the pond and go up to the filter box, which doubles as a waterfall, which will cascade down into the water here. When it gets up into the filter box, we have lava rocks is the first part of the filtration when it comes up into the box, and then there are 2 sponge type filters that will be on either side of this plastic frame. And we're going to do some scooping in the pond with our things here, and then we're also going to reinstate this purple iris that was wintering over in a potted plant next to the garage, and it's going to get put into one of these special aquatic water plant planters, and then anchored with some rocks in there as well. And then we also, Mom doesn't like the great blue herons, as she mentioned earlier, coming to mess with her goldfish, so we put in these faux greens to give them extra cover. All right, we're gonna set the time lapse and get into it. So before we start the camera on high speed, I want to show you a couple more things here. So this is the back side of the pond now. That is the tube that's going to come up into the filter box, also the waterfall, and sometimes there's frogs that overwinter in here as well. So that is the inside of the filter box. So water's going to come in from the tubing right there. The lava rocks are going to lay, and then the mesh filtering separated by the plastic frame, and then I weight it with this white rock, and then I put this lid on it so it doesn't get as much debris in there, and then down the waterfall and into the tank. You paying attention? Good. So, I don't know if you were able to pick up during the high-speed portion, but we found 3 critters in the scooping of the pond here. One of them's floating right there. The froggy. Probably a green frog. It's hard to tell when they're that size. But that's the most common frog we have around here. Poking his head up over there now. And then I also had 2 goldfish. One about 3 inches that was brighter orange, and then one that was about 4 inches that was like a beigey white with a little red spot on his dorsal side near the dorsal fin. So that's a good sign. We had 3 critters over winter here in the pond. The sucking noise you hear is because the water level is low, and I wanted to flush I called them oak thingies earlier. These, I believe, are called catkins, which are what make acorn. So the oak tree drops that pollen, and then that goes into the ground and eventually becomes an acorn. So that's what all the oak thingies were I referred to earlier. So we're going to turn this off right now. We're going to get a baseline on the levels, like water quality levels, and then put the filter in now that it had a little run to purge the system, and top it off with some fresh water and use some of those additives we had earlier, and we will be on our way here. All right. So I want to show you a couple other options besides the pond that I'm working on here. As this is about a 60-gallon container pond. So ponds can either be like liners, or they can be this polyplastic material that has a pre-cut shape, and there's 3 shelves in there that you could put some aquatic plants on and drop a small pump in there. This pump does 80 gallons an hour, and this is like a $10 pump, and this container would cost maybe 40 or 50 bucks, and then a few plants and a few fish, so you could have that whole setup for under $100. And I'm going to show you my mom's neighbor's pond, which is a little more on the other side of a large-scale project. That's a little more involved, and if you're really inspired, you could build that on your own, or you could contract that out. It also has a waterfall chute with the biofilter with the waterfall up near the top there. And that's probably 3 times the size of my mom's, and some really cool aquatic plants and some accent lighting and statues around there, and I like those prayer flags up above as well. Here we are back at my mom's pond, and important backstory that I didn't share earlier. The whole reason that we are tying this in around Mother's Day is about 10 or 12 years ago. On Mother's Day, my sister took my mom out for brunch, and me and a friend built this in about 3 or 4 hours. Dug the hole, built up the tower for the biofilter waterfall box in the back, laid the liner, which is the movable plastic in here, and put some fish in there, and she came home to this setup. And that is the cool backstory tying this to Mother's Day. So to wrap it up, we added a couple ounces of Pro Filter Starter to the biofilter to get it going for the season. We added some pond salt for the plants and the fish. Helps improve gill function, reduces fish stress, adds essential electrolytes. And lastly, there was a little algae buildup on the sides of the pond, so I used a couple ounces, or actually half an ounce, of this algae control. All these are available at your pet store or more specialized fish and pond store where you can get these. And we also got that purple iris in, and put some of the faux reeds back in there to give them a little cover if a great blue heron does come along. And the frog and fish are now back in session for the spring, summer, fall season. And that concludes another edition of Creative Nature with BKG. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, past, present, and future. And see you next time.